So I wanted to get started asking about how you became involved in directing Unit 234. What was that inspiration and coming on board the film and approaching directing the film?
Well, actually, I mean, if you know my movies, uh, being offered a thriller, it never happens. So I was thrilled to get the script. And, um, like any director, when you read a movie, you're hoping that it's going to be good, and most of them aren't. And this one, I didn't see the twist coming. I thought it was really clever, and by the time I got to the end, I was like, "Wow, that's a really good movie," and I can't believe I get to do it.
Mhm. And what was the casting process like as well? How did you decide to really cast Isabella and just the main actors? What was that process like in approaching the casting?
We did a little work on the script because I really could relate without giving away any of the spoilers um, or the twists. I really could relate to Don Johnson's character, and so for me, it was. He was the linchpin to getting everybody else. And so once we had Don, then I met with Isabelle, who is amazing and up for anything. And then Jack, and really, it's a three character piece, and they were all just really game to do, to do the movie and run around in the rain.
Mhm. And speaking about also like the running and the actions and stunt sequences, what was that process like of getting to work with them and really building the physicality for the characters?
Well, I think, poor Isabel had to run around, in the rain. I mean, if 90% of the movie takes place at night. So, we were shooting all long nights, and we would get to 4 in the morning, and Isabel would still be, gung ho to be running in the rain and, doing all the stuff that she has to do in the film. So she kept us positive and happy and wanting to make a better movie. So we did all of that, I think. I mean, I think we got lucky.
And with the film taking place mostly at night, like you just mentioned, and mainly in the storage unit facility, what was that experience like as well? And really finding the location and figuring out like blocking the film as well.
Well, I think originally the movie was shot in the Cayman Islands for reasons that are above my pay grade, because there's no tax credits there, there's no nothing. But so we shot in the Cayman Islands, and they don't really have storage units like you'd find in New Jersey or, New Orleans or anywhere, any big city. There would be those, big storage units. So it was a little bit of a challenge, but it actually helped us in a way that we had all that outside stuff to keep the rain and keep the cat and mouse part of the story alive. So that was kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, other than that, um, storage facilities are scary enough during the
Mhm.
day. So to be doing a movie that's pretty much about a young woman trapped in a storage facility. um, I've often said it's amazing to me that this idea had never been made before. A storage unit is scary just in and of itself.
You were filming the action sequences in particular, and what was your experience like when working with your cinematographer and figuring out how you wanted to shoot the film as well?
Well, there were some physical battles that happened between the characters, that for me it's kind of fun because it's cinematic and you've got lots of different camera angles and you're bashing each other and fighting and blood and guns and all of that stuff. But as a director, that stuff is rather tedious. It's not what I do. So for me, my movies are about people, and so I like people stories and people who connect and talk and all of that. So the action stuff becomes very mechanical, but then it becomes really fun again because once you get to the editing room and you put all those pieces together, it suddenly has, so much energy, and you go, "Oh, look, I did an action scene."
Mhm. And speaking also about the editing process, what was your relationship like with the film's editor and really figuring out how you wanted to put the final version of the film together as well?
Well, Piper Cozy was my editor, and she had been mentored by another editor that I've worked with for 25 years, Troy Takaki. And so it was kind of fun to have somebody young and energetic and a woman, um, especially when you have a woman protagonist that's in trouble. I mean, she wanted to make sure that Isabel's was protected in a way cinematically, and so, it was great fun. I always love when I get to the editing room, and it's much more fun for me to watch a scene in the rain in the editing room than it is to actually shoot the scene in the rain at 4 o'clock in the morning.
And when you were working with Isabelle and Don and Jack on set, what was your experience like in really working together and building the characters and story with them overall as
So
well?
we shot in the Cayman Islands. Most of it was at night, so our day would start at 5 o'clock in the evening and go till 7 o'clock in the morning. And so, you bond with your crew and you bond with your cast. And on the weekends, you hang out and go to brunch together. All of that is you create a family and you're there together for whatever it is.
What was your collaboration like with the producers on the film and really getting the project going and collaborating on set as well?
Well, I had two wonderful producers, Blythe Frank and Hadeel Reda, and they struggled to get the movie made. It's getting harder and harder to find financing and to get something from a script to an actual start date to all the way through production and all of that. And I don't envy them at all because we didn't have enough money and we didn't have enough time, and yet we were shooting at night, but we had a great time.
And when you're making like these action-driven thrillers, what's the experience like also in creating the score to help build like the tension and the emotions as well? Oh,
I think tension and emotion comes, A, from the script, B, from the performance, and C, from the editing. So for me, I feel like I'm more of a conductor of the orchestra. I don't actually play an instrument, but I can at least kind of modulate everybody and everything. So whether it's about tension or confession or a love story or or an action scene, it really is just about having the camera in the right place at the right time.
going back to working with the producers, what do you hope that audiences can really take away from the film? Do you feel like the action is really like the most exciting part, or what was that experience?
I think look, it's a really good B movie, and they used to make these movies a lot, and they were the reason why you went to the movies and had fun. It's a fun thriller. It's got great surprises and twists, and it's just fun entertainment. That's why I wanted to make it, and that's what I hope people take away from it. Was just that was really good.
Okay, I think that was mainly it, but thank you again for taking the time to speak
Sure.
with me. I
Nice
appreciate it. You too. Thanks again.